Communication from Council Chair Raposo requesting the presence of the Planning Director to provide a briefing on the beach access to the area fronting the end portion of Anini Road.
Move to receive.
Second.
Seconded. Thank you so much for that. At this time, we're gonna call the planning department to come forward. Chair, proposal?
Yeah, the whole reason for today's meeting was trying to decide or figure out as far as authority with the county and the state. We had a lot of discussion at the last meeting regarding what's going on out in Anini. And, the solution is quite easy, right? It's determine where the public line is and making sure that that public space is open to the public. It's that simple, I've received calls from a lot of people about different aspects of this development. Honestly, don't really have any interest in the development at this point, providing it's permitted. My sole purpose for having this discussion today is to determine where does the public line sit and whose obligation or responsibility is it to keep that open for the community. That is it. So I know we had requested, we tried to get DLNR here. Apparently they didn't make it. They couldn't get here. We do have planning here, I think.
Yeah, it's right there.
Okay, so planning is
He's right
here.
there.
And that is the objective, really, is to determine, ultimately I would assume that this body is going to have to probably do a formal resolution asking the state to do a shoreline survey so we can get that line defined and to make sure that the property owner doesn't encroach. It's really that simple. So that's the objective.
And I think in our conversation, Chair, it was just who's schooling and
That's
who's
it.
responsible. That's
Yeah.
it. And then we go from there. So we need planning.
Yeah, right, today, because DLNR is not here.
Okay. Kaina?
Good morning again, all. Thank you, Chair, members of Council. Kaina Hall again on behalf of the Planning Department. Could I use the map we sent to you folks, Christian, just to kind of point out the three areas of property that seem to be the points of contention?
We had some really good maps from last week too, right?
Yep.
The last week's one,
Last week.
some really nice.
Yeah, that one.
That's a good one. Yeah, if you can use a pointer so we know what you're talking about. Thank you.
Okay. So, following up on the last meeting that was at council concerning the end of the road at Anini Beach, this is the primary property that seems at conflict with public beach users frequent in this area. So you have a single family dwelling here on this property, but this property is all the way to the shoreline, or to the beach, and there's that road easement that cuts through it. The single family dwelling that's right here is a non-conforming use certificate vacation rental. So the uses going on out there are associated with vacation rental usage, both on this side of the property as well as on this side of the property. So with security and placement of surfboards and beach chairs, it's all associated with this vacation rental use located on the property here. Now, the planning department has issued a cease and desist to the vacation rental for failure of timely renewal some years ago. And we're currently in litigation with the landowner to shut that vacation rental down. But as we go through litigation, they are operating, it's generally been for all of the ones that we go through due process to shut down non-conforming use certificates, to go through that litigation, and that when the ICA rules, they're being able to take action on them shutting down if they don't. So the uses occurring out here are associated with that vacation rental use. The easement here, which apparently they've blocked a number of times, is clearly a public easement. And we have communicated from the planning department on a number of occasions to the landowner that they can't block a public easement. And apparently they responded like, oh, they're more directing traffic, and that may be neither here nor there, but clearly they cannot block public thoroughfare of a public easement. The planning department is taking it as far as it can in that we can only notify. We don't have authority to say when somebody does a use violation within the zoning district or an SMA violation, we come out guns blazing if they don't comply, issuing $10,000 fines, what have you. We just don't have that authority in this easement. If this easement was cut, say as Kulana was doing through a subdivision action, we may have some nexus to issue a fine for blocking that easement. But beyond that, we just don't. I mean, ultimately they can call KPD to say they're blocking this thoroughfare that the public has access to. So that's one area of jurisdiction. The other area, which is I think also partly some of the main conflict point, is this triangular portion that is a portion of the overall property here that is makai of the roadway easement and between the ocean and the roadway. Now there's apparently things going on here whereby the security guard may be telling people that they cannot walk on this portion of their private property, where they may be restricting it for exclusive use of the vacation rental home over here. And that is one of the biggest areas of contention. What I have been in talks with both the OCCL chief as well as Don Cheng, the chair of DLNR, over the past 7 days. And what I explained to them is, it's our impression, given the evidence of the high wash and the high waves, that this triangular portion is below the evidence shoreline. And that would mean that that's in state unencumbered lands and within the jurisdiction of the conservation district, which is why we haven't really issued any notifications out there. But if the private property owner is exercising exclusive rights to this makai portion of their parcel, that if they continue to exert those exclusive use rights, then we can issue an SMA violation notice. But I couldn't, and I tell you the council members today, I can't issue it for the security guard because the security guard is part of the vacation rental operation. I can issue it, and I'm ready to issue it, for the placement of the boulders there. The placement of those boulders would require, if in the SMA, and MOCA of the shoreline, will require an SMA permit. So I'm able to do that because of the fact that they're exercising their exclusive use rights and exerting private property rights on this portion. When I had this conversation with the DLNR chair, and she did say that I'm authorized to convey this to you folks, it is in her preliminary review that the highest wash or the highest wave is above this portion of their property, and in fact is above portions of the easement road, and that in fact this portion of the property is now within state unencumbered lands and within the jurisdiction of the conservation district and DLNR's purview. So she's made that statement to me both over the phone and email communications. And so ultimately, you know, my discussion with her is are they going to be able to issue a notice based off of that? And she's consulting with their divisions as well as attorney generals on whether or not they'll be able to issue a notice to the property owner concerning this. And so that's just what we're waiting for. I had my last conversation with her actually this morning. She said there's no way they'll be able to issue that notice today. But they are consulting with the divisions and again the attorney generals. And I let her know that, you know, if ultimately they are, I think we agree with her assessment that it is below the highest wash or the highest wave and it's in their jurisdiction. But I let her know that ultimately if she is unable to make that determination on her own in the next 2 to 4 weeks, that the planning department is ready to issue the violation notice on the boulders. Again, that's as far as I can take my SMA authority. And that's kind of where we are at today.
So again, kind of, it's just the boulder areas that you're talking about.
Well, the placement of boulders on private property within the SMA would require an SMA minor permit or a major. And so that would be a clear violation. And again, it would be a clear violation if we had a shoreline survey that determined that the boulders are MOCA of the shoreline. There's hesitancy that probably makai of it, but absent that shoreline, and again, if the property owner continues to exert private property rights on this portion of property, then we can issue, and are prepared to issue the SMA violation.
Members, any questions?
I have. Can I use your little pointer? Thank you. And full disclosure, I did meet with the developer on the property. So, first of all, what the developer's team said is that the state put those boulders there. So maybe you can ask Don Chang if it was the state that put the boulders there, because they said they didn't put the boulders there. So you might ask them that.
And just for clarification, within our SMA enforcement, as well as our regular zoning enforcement authority, we have the authority to cite the property owner. Somebody might have placed something there, but at the end of the day, from our jurisdiction, the liability lies with the property owner.
So, did you, like, where the wash of the waves come, you know, it's really, it actually comes up, like, it goes across the road. They've got a white fence. I don't really have a problem with the white fence. But I think without question, the wash of the waves, the high wash of the waves, we showed pictures last time, it completely covers the grass that's pretty routinely returned. You're saying SMA violations. I couldn't find an SMA permit. Does it have an SMA permit?
It doesn't have an SMA permit for the boulders, no.
Does it have an SMA permit for the commercial use of the house there?
So, vacation rental, when the house was constructed, the first house on a SMA property was exempt from SMA.
But it's not a vacation rental. It's like a little snack shop. It's like a little restaurant.
Well, it's being used, as I understand it from our investigation, for the exclusive use of a single family in that house.
Have you gone and looked?
I've been down there. I haven't entered the actual facility though.
It's open. It's got a good food service in there, and it's basically where they let their people have refreshments and get access to their equipment. So it's not a vacation rental.
No.
So it might have needed an SMA for doing that change of use. Is that right?
If it was a commercial use, yes. But from our investigation, it's one family that's allowed to utilize that site that's been operated as a vacation rental historically and still. I'll be careful because we're in litigation with the vacation rental
All
right
right.
now.
Well, I would tell you, go look at it because it isn't a house for use. It's cute. It's darling. It's got a little sitting area. It's got TV. It's a food service area. Go look at it.
No, if it is a
It's
restaurant,
not a vacation rental.
then it wouldn't indeed be an SMA violation.
Can I ask a question? If you're talking about this now, does it have a bathroom?
Yes.
I'll be honest, I haven't visited the single family dwelling itself, but I would imagine it does.
Can I ask another
Yes,
question?
sure, go ahead.
So, we allow surfboard holding building to have a bathroom as long as we cannot prove they're sleeping in it, but yet we don't allow our people for the county to add on a room because the Department of Health doesn't let you put a room because you gotta.
This is a single family dwelling that's
I don't
has
understand
existed
that.
for decades.
Is this a rental unit or isn't this a rental unit?
It's a single family dwelling.
Right, so, and our job is not to go inspect it, it's your job. So did you guys go inspect it? Because Councilmember Collin had inspected it, she said it's not a house.
We have not inspected the house.
I suggest we inspect it.
It's a beautiful little environment. So last time we talked about how HR 115-9, that's a state piece that the council chair ended our discussion with. It impacts this private use of the beach. But there's also 115-10. And so I'm not sure, like, if this property, if it's Waioli Protestant Church, but this area, this is another public access, so I presented this last time. Right here, we have a 10-acre government reserve piece right there, right? And so at least on the TMK, on Q Public, this still says government reserve, so I was trying to ask last time, well, what does that mean? And this is the way into it. So this is overgrown with grass. This looks like a big field. Has that been looked at? Is this permitted or somehow like leased to the developer? There's a parcel behind there.
The complaint we received was again, the use of the existing parcel, particularly the front Makai one. We haven't investigated the rear parcel.
Okay, well, you might look at that, because I brought it up last time. This is, at least on the Q Public, that's 10 acres. So, and then, because there's this, and maybe we don't care about the 10 acres right here. But this, I was really happy to hear from the team there that they are very open to sharing it. And I will tell you, you should go look. It's a beautiful little environment there. They've got snacks and foods, and it totally opens out. I think they have a pizza oven in there, and I'm not sure. I can't remember, but they have. There's food service inside there, and but it's clearly not a vacation rental. No question.
Any other questions? Chair Raposo?
Thanks, Kaina, for that. So, the TVR violation, when was that issued?
2019, I want to say 2018 or 19.
So at 2018 or 19, the owners said that, you guys said, no, they didn't renew.
They failed to timely renew.
Okay, so that caused the violation to be written, a citation.
Correct.
So they obviously have lost their entitlement to vacation rent.
They've appealed it and it's going through the courts right now.
Right, but the way the statute is written, failure to renew your non-conforming use certificate, you lose it and it's done. Yeah, they're gonna sue, of course they're gonna sue, because they got money and they can sue. In the meantime, we don't know if there were, I mean, based on the Councilor Cowden saying right now, they turned it into a commercial operation, selling food and
Not selling, giving food. Different, giving food.
giving food.
Giving
Maybe
food.
I gotta go take a ride down there this weekend. See if they give me food. The state has made the determination that, based on the historical, the pictures, that the shoreline is,
I say the conversations, the emails I've had with the chair are, under her preliminary review of it, it would be clear that the highest water of the highest wave is above it. And that's where I've asked if they'll be issuing that in a formal notification to the property owner. And that we haven't received yet.
and we expect that in the next couple of weeks, maybe?
Like I talked with the chair about, if they're unable to make that formal notification, in the next 2 to 4 weeks, the planning department would be ready to issue a SMA violation on the boulders. So.
Yeah, but so if we issue the SMA violation, we're basically conceding that that's their property, right? Because you cannot get an SMA violation on state property. You know what I'm saying?
No, I see what you're saying, and again, as long as they're exerting those rights, and if DLNR is unable to make that
No,
determination.
but then we're condoning them. If DLNR is saying that is, it's the upper wash of the waves, then, no, we need to reclaim the property, but by us giving them an SMA, that's giving them ammo to say, wait a minute, you guys acknowledge that it was my property, right? Wouldn't that, I mean, that's a legal question, but Lord have mercy, I'm not suggesting we do that, because then they will say, no, you guys said it was my property, that's why you cited me.
Yeah, and I think in order to resolve it, we could ask for a shoreline certification.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have to. I think, but even the preliminary, see, I don't think we should be discussing with this landowner the opportunity to share. That's not his to
Yep.
share.
Yep.
And I think that's where I'm getting really, really frustrated, because we know where the upper wash of the waves. I didn't go to the shack. I don't know what's in that shack, but I know where the debris line is. It's clearly above the road. So that's not his to share. In other words, get off the state property. If you want to go maintain, that's fine. So I guess my question is for planning, are you guys supportive? I mean, will a resolution from us urging the state to do a shoreline certification help? Will a resolution from us, from this council to the state, to enforce our access rights, would that help? Because I mean, we can sit here for the next 3 years waiting for DLNR to do something.
No, yeah, I think the department would be supportive of urging the state to enforce on the shoreline access. Whether or not they can actually themselves legally do a shoreline against the wishes of the property owner, and I'm not saying this, neither here, I'm just saying, when I brought that question up with DLNR, they haven't been able to confirm whether or not they can. And that's what I'm saying, I'm not sure. it's a question possible for Matt, and that's
Matt,
like,
I don't know if you're prepared to answer that. If you're not, that's fine. I don't want to bring up anything, because I don't want to speculate, but.
I mean, it's the state property. It's the state beach.
I would be in agreement.
I mean, the owner better be very careful what they say, because then every damn landowner will just take over the beaches if the state cannot do a shoreline survey, right? The other option is just to eminent domain, condemn, and just take the land. Just take the land, and take them as far as we want. Because I think the problem is too, it's still gonna require a shoreline certification, because we cannot condemn state land.
Correct.
Right? So right now, as it stands, kind of planning is just waiting to see what the LNR will do.
Correct.
I will ask that we hold off on issuing any SMA violation citations, because again, you're just going to validate their claim to the land.
Fair
I'm not the attorney. We got an attorney sitting right there. He's hearing my question, and I would definitely suggest you consult with them before you go issue one, because I think you just give them ammo.
Fair enough.
Thank you. Thank you.
Councilmember DeCosta.
Yeah, I just got an important text. It came in from one of my colleagues that's out there in the community, and I sent it to you. NorthShorePreservation.com. It's a homeowners association. It's a subdivision in Princeville that they get to use this little shack for their beach, I guess, good times or whatever. So,
Clubhouse.
what is that?
It's like a clubhouse.
Are you part of the clubhouse?
Oh,
Oh, I just was wondering.
Sorry.
Because you've been visiting with the landowner and we weren't visiting, so
because I called and asked.
Okay. I'm just wondering, kinda, if they have those apps on the phone that can order food and pay on the app without even having any kind of cashier down at the little shop, right? And you just go down there and your goodies is there. Like we gotta investigate this.
No, and we haven't had a complaint on the vacation rental site itself, but we can take this as a formal complaint to initiate the investigation.
Yeah.
And we can
Okay,
spin that up
consider
today.
it a complaint.
Yeah.
If you can put my name.
No, my friend just texted me. Maybe we give him the complaint. Thank you for that.
Further questions, members? Seeing none, thank you, Kaina.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kaina.
With rules still suspended, anybody from the public wish to speak on this matter? Oh, speak. All right. I'm not demanding you speak, but I know you came out early, and I know you are expert on that side of the island, so mahalo.
Well, I don't know about
State-
expert, but
State your name and you may begin.
Hope Kauai. And actually, I'm testifying today as a member of the Na'alahele Kauai chapter. It's a state agency that's tasked with trail maintenance and manages, the only agency that manages state historic trails. So I'm very concerned that underlying Anini Road is our ancient Alanui. It was in place when the missionaries came in the 1820s. They described it. The map I have in my testimony is 1833. It's the first map of Kauai that shows trails. And the reason that was made by missionaries is so they could show visiting missionaries and new guys fresh off the boat how to get from Waimea to Honolulu. So the trail showed every single river crossing. It detailed whether it was a wide river and they were going to have to ford it with horses or whatever, or find a scow, or if it was a crossable river. So it was a really important map, this 1833 map, and it has the missions on it, and it is right in front of that Waiole, what's the remnant of the Waiole Protestant Church, which is now a graveyard. So there's no way the missionaries could have gotten from point A to B to C without that trail. The trail was always there. It's ancient and forever, and there have been no considerations about the closure of this ancient trail, just like Hapa. We have allowed the breach of this ancient trail system without any kapa'akai consideration, without any consideration to traditional and cultural practices. This is a really important reef and fishing area, and they have blocked off the only turnaround that you can launch a boat at, right in front of the deep water channel right there. So there's huge impacts to cultural traditional practices from this little bitty closure, but the major part of the closure is the rest of the trail system. And that's through Princeville. What we're now calling a cart trail was part of the ancient government road that went through the whole island system, and we're allowing this breach. We've allowed that road to be turned into a footpath only. It privatizes the 10 acres of government land that nobody can get to except Princeville Development Corp. And we as a county need to take better care of our ancient trails and not allow this to happen another time. We have trails all along the coastline. Anytime there's any kind of road closure like this, we need to consider the impacts to our ancient trails and not have to get taken to the Supreme Court again.
Thank you.
So, thank you.
Anybody else? Seeing none, meeting call back to order. Members, final discussion. Council Chair.
Okay, yeah, again, I'm not a member of the committee, but this was the item I requested. So, in hearing what Kaina has said today, as far as DLNR's preliminary observations, I guess we should probably, as a body, could pursue or a resolution to urge the DLNR or the state to come up with that shoreline determination. I think that's number one. I think we got to define that line and make it very clear. Again, as I said at the last meeting, and I think Mr. Kainao talked about today, it is a violation of the law. It is a misdemeanor for anybody to block public access. I don't care if you think it's your property. At the end of the day, it's very clear based on the debris line and where the upper reach of the wash is that it is public access. It is a public thoroughfare, and anyone that tries to stop anyone from accessing that it's a misdemeanor, which means you can go to jail. So, for the public watching, if you run into those encounters with anyone telling you cannot go there, then you need to call the police, not planning. I think we move forward with the resolution urging them to not just determine the shoreline, but also to enforce the public access with their enforcement officers. And I really think we got to start having a discussion about eminent domain. I think we really got to start considering on properties like this, where we have a landowner that may be encroaching, and this is not the only one. It's happening across our island. That we need to start doing something though. And eminent domain is always an option. And but again, not until we find out where the private property begins and the state property ends. So I'll be working on that resolution. Hopefully in the next couple of weeks we can get it on. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Anybody else? Councilmember Cooley?
Yeah, Chair, the only thing is, if eminent domain means the public would have to pay for it, I don't think we should pay for something that is ours. So if the shoreline certification shows that it's state, it's part of the beach, then it just needs to be corrected.
Thank you. Anybody?
Real quick, let me just clarify. The eminent domain would be on the private property, not the state property. Once we determine where the state, the shoreline is, obviously that is public property.
Okay.
But if we want to expand that for public use to actually get
Make
into
a bigger park and.
correct. If we wanted to make it a drivable access so that our kupuna can go catch owama like they used to, that is always an option. So yeah, absolutely not paying for what's ours, no.
Further discussion? Councilmember Claudia?
I just do want to acknowledge this very quality testimony with all the maps and the drawings on the trail work. I think that it's really important that we keep our beaches open for our people. And it seems like I presented last week that it's really clear that the high wash of the wave actually even goes onto the other side of the road. I go down there pretty regularly, in part because I get community complaints. So in the last time, I showed how it even goes into the back of people's garages, the high wash of the wave. So far in, it goes into the houses, not that we would ever expect any of these houses, including what I think is colloquially framed as a surf shack down there, you know, it's the TVR. You know, the fence line that's there has been there, I think, for a very long time, but at least having that road through there, and it's just really important when there has been protection over the decades and the generations for people having access. I know that there are a number of cultural practices that, I don't even want to say what they are, but are down there right towards the river mouth that has become difficult to do. So I also want to acknowledge that when we did call, I called the developer, and right away we were invited down there, really treated with aloha, and when we were sitting there, what was said by the work team, not the developer himself or his next in line, who happens to be his daughter, who's really sharp, wasn't them, but they were like, oh yeah, we want to work with the community, we want to make sure this is open. It seemed authentic and real. I always try and give people the benefit of the doubt. I wouldn't say that the experience that I had prior to that supported that. Like I said, I have been asked to leave before by security, but that was over a year ago. But I think it's really important that we follow up on this, and I thank all the people. And last time we had some more kupuna, but I get regular calls when there is a high wash of the wave. So I've been down there and I've seen how far into everybody's yards in that area the high wash of the waves go. It's well over the road.
Thank you. Councilman DeCosta.
Yeah. Kind of troubles me, you guys. Troubles me that we have a telephone pole still in the ground. The gate has been removed. The gate was only removed because there were some complaints made. This is a prime example, you guys, why our areas get absorbed. The word is absorbed. When we don't take action against these billionaires / high-end millionaires who think they own areas that our kupuna traversed. And you heard that from Ms. Hope Kalai. I'm so honored that she had shared her mana'o with us as a council. Because 10 years later, someone will go to Anini Beach and say, oh, that's the telephone pole. It's been here like 100 years. No, it hasn't. But we lost a generation who goes down to Anini because it was closed. They only opened it up because they were a community fight back. You guys get plenty of cases like this all over the island. Stop negotiating with the billionaires. We negotiate with our community members and let them get the access that they deserve. This place is called NorthShorePreservation.com. It's a homeowners association little cabin that they can go down there and enjoy from the Princeville subdivision. Wow. I hope maybe Kaumakani subdivision can go down to that place and enjoy. Maybe Hanapepe Heights can go down to that little shack and go enjoy. Can they get a surfboard and go enjoy? Time for we all wake up. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Signanya, just thank you. Concur with Council Chair, Raposo, just slam dunk. If the highest wash of the wave, not only in Anini but in any area, compromises public access, the state should not delay in taking action. And maybe Hawaii, they have a lot of those like that. All over North Shore and Oahu, I'm sure has a lot. But it's not something you ignore, because if you let it slide, and then it compromises the public, like in this case, and then it becomes a question when it shouldn't even be a question. We got climate change, we got shorelines changing, and where they do change and compromise public access, the state needs to recognize it and take action, and then we don't have, waste everybody's time. Okay, 5 years of complaints, 5 years of no complaints. If we take action, not only in Anini, but all over island where, this occurs. And I want to thank, Hope and team. We go back, from 2012. She's been fighting for Alaloa, the lay around, Kauai, that is a legal document that, been violated time and time again by not being recognized. Similar to in this case, where the shoreline has changed and we're disputing, whether this is in this guy's property or not. It's not even a question. It's already the highest wash of the wave takes over that land that we're questioning and fighting about. So I think, to not focus only on Anini, but to focus on every place that this occurs and, urge the state that we cannot wait on these decisions, because all it does is it ends up making people fight and waste their time when there's so much other problems, to conquer, and to hope, keep fighting. Without people like you, there wouldn't be any oversight looking back at, why we continue to not, recognize laws that were made, or legal documents that were done far before to protect, Hawaiian rights, gathering rights, rights to public beaches and access. So, thank you. With that, all of approval motion to receive, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Seeing no further business, Planning Committee is adjourned.